Welcome to Two Lamps Last Hour News.
I'm Vernon.
I'm Cheryl.
I'm Abigail. Good evening, y'all.
Today what we're going to cover, Americans not buying what Donald Trump is selling them. Who is more responsible for economic state of the economy? Tariffs and how Americans are viewing them. And also, new airport rules, in boarding passes, and go digital. So let's start with the first one. How Americans feel 3 months into Trump's second term. 53% now think the economy is getting worse.
Up from the 42%. They're not seeing the evidence of all this golden era, as he calls it. So let's look at what he has said he would do. He declared drill, baby, drill, which means a lot of drilling. And where's this at? The land that was confiscated from the people who suffered disasters, which they said they couldn't move back on their own property because it was declared a disaster area in North Carolina and other places. What are they doing? They're drilling on these properties, and the government gets the full amount of the money. The people don't get it because they lost their land. I don't think the people are going for this. There's no golden era here. So just realize what's going on. Take a good look. And that's why the people are upset about this.
Y'all take a look at this clip.
Getting a clearer picture of how Americans are feeling about President Trump and his economic policy now 12 weeks into his second term. CNN chief data analyst Harry Inton is here to run the numbers. Hello, Harry. Happy Sunday to you.
You as well.
Okay, so where are we with Americans and how they're viewing the economy?
Yeah, so CBS News YouGov poll came out earlier today, and I will just say, I'll put it in stark terms, I believe this is the worst poll that Donald Trump has received in his second term, and we can go through it, Jessica. Let's talk about the economy, right? Think the economy is getting worse. Back in November, it was 42% of Americans. You don't have to be a genius to follow this timeline. By February, it was 49%, March, 51%. Look at where we are now, 53%. The clear majority of Americans think the economy is getting worse, and that number is rising. When Trump, of course, won that second term, it was 42%. Now we're up 11 points. The clear majority, 53%. This poll and this number in particular is no bueno for the President of the United States, Jessica.
So here's the next one. Who is more responsible for the economic state of the economy right now? Joe Biden or Trump? 54% say Trump. 21% say Biden. Y'all let us know down in the comments who y'all think is more responsible for the state of the economy right now.
The government Trump is prescribing is very suffering to the citizens of this country. It shouldn't be that the citizens always have to suffer for some legislature or government. It should be like even this $5 million car could pay some of these people's debts or their trouble that they're going through because of his government he has. Instead of getting the country out of debt, help people right now because of his legislature.
Y'all take a look at this clip.
And who are they blaming for what they are seeing as an economic downturn?
Yeah, okay. So, obviously you had Joe Biden before you had Donald Trump. And of course, Donald Trump would say, you know, Joe Biden left us in a horrible state and I have to help dig us out of it. All right, so let's take a look here. More responsible for the state of the economy or the economic state. In March, CBS News asked about inflation, and 38% said it was Joe Biden who was more responsible, compared to 34% who said Donald Trump. Let's jump forward to now, in the month of April. Look at this number. 54% of Americans say that Donald Trump is more to blame for the state of the economy than Joe Biden. Joe Biden's number has fallen from 38% to 21%. Donald Trump may try to blame Joe Biden for this, and maybe that was working a month ago in the month of March. But since the tariff war has begun, it's not working anymore. Americans are not buying what Donald Trump is selling them. They believe, the clear majority, 54%, that Donald Trump is more to blame for the state of the economy at this point than Joe Biden is, Jessica.
Next one. Tariffs, how Americans are viewing them. In January, Americans favored them at 48%. Now they oppose them at 58%. Y'all put down in the comments if y'all favor tariffs or oppose them. Let us know.
Trump said he inherited this country and it was very sick. Well, if a country is very sick, you can't impose a lot of tariffs to make the people even suffer more in this country because of the tariffs bringing the economy down and the people's jobs lost. And then the price of everything shooting up. You just can't operate like that. And that should be well known to anybody, even in the government.
Right. Here's the next clip.
Just in the last month, really.
Yeah.
How are they viewing tariffs?
Yeah. Okay. So obviously, the big thing when it comes to the state of the economy right now for Donald Trump is tariffs. So let's take a look here. All right. The tariff plan, new tariffs on imported goods, opposed versus favored. You go back to January. Look at this. 48% said they favored these new tariffs, these Donald Trump tariffs, compared to 46% who opposed. Look at where we are now in the CBS News YouGov poll. A switcheroo, Jessica, a switcheroo. The clear majority, 58% of Americans oppose these new tariffs compared to just 42% who favor them. Again, this is part of the picture that we've seen throughout this presentation, right, Jessica? More and more people are turning against Donald Trump. Their views of the economy are getting worse. They are holding Donald Trump responsible. And when it comes to his signature issue, so far in his second term, tariffs, I mean, my goodness gracious, that trend line is ridiculously awful for Trump. The opposition number from 46 to 58 and the favor from 48 to 42. Americans have switched on a dime on the economy, on Donald Trump, in large part because of the tariffs, which they increasingly do not like.
And what's their...
Could the tariffs have been used in Trump's first term to make people think tariffs are a good thing, only to be used in his second term to crash the economy?
A crash is a disaster. The government is commonly known to use disasters to bring about change that people really don't want. Let us know what y'all think about that in the comments.
New airport rules end boarding passes and go digital. They're saying it's the biggest shakeup in the airline industry in a long time. Scan your face and boom, you're in.
That's not the real big shakeup. The shakeup is that it's going to be used to buy and sell very soon. And it's just a mask with the boarding passes. So know that there's more to it than that.
I'll take a look at this.
Plan to get rid of boarding passes and check in and go fully digital. The way it works, passengers would download a biometric passport on their phone, drop off their luggage, and go through security after a face scan. Then you'd board the plane without showing your ticket or a passport at all. But what does that all mean for your privacy? Let's ask Kurt, the cyber guy. He joins us now. Katie on the staff here went through, she said in Dubai, they just looked right at her, boom, she goes in. So this is happening some places already. Should we be nervous? I mean, that feels kind of like a pretty big step.
Well, Clay, good morning to you. I'm wondering, who's in control of all this data?
Great question.
Who is going to be the one that keeps the safety of all our deeply personal facial recognition data safe that matches to our credentials? It is what people are calling the biggest shakeup in the airline industry in at least 50 years. Airlines and airports doing away over the next 3 years with the check-in process, as well as scanning a boarding pass. That'll all go away. A biometric digital travel credential will be created, or you could use your smartphone. It's going to show your face to a scanner when you enter the airport, and boom, you're in, just like Clay was saying. And this is, this digital travel credential will carry everything. It'll have your passport on it. It'll have your driver's license on it. It'll have your ticket on it. And it'll also understand your flight information to know if you're in the right place at the right time. Well, this is expected to radically shorten the amount of time you need at the airport. But again, a lot of questions about who's going to be in control of this data. We already know that all they're telling us, Clay, is that as far as what you and I scan in, that when we go to the airport and we scan our faces, that within 15 seconds, our data is going to be wiped from that reader. But what about on the other end? Who's controlling all of that? There are a lot of unanswered questions here.
Kurt, I also expect, because every single day it seems like I open up a news app and data has leaked. you're saying that that would be scrubbed in 15 seconds. I think a lot of people out there watching are asking the question, really? Because it feels inevitable that all of this highly sensitive data would at some point get scrubbed, get taken, get scanned, and end up in the wrong hands. Am I crazy for this to worry about it? I don't think so.
Well, the world has been really bad at tracking all of this stuff, Clay. I think you're right. And the fact is, I don't know who's been determined to be in control of this data. And if it's a universal thing from the UN, and I don't know if many people know this, but, the UN dictates a lot of what happens when we fly. And they're the ones that are behind why we have the universal language or the global language at airports is English. So they also determine these sorts of things. So be actually very curious to see what Rachel's husband, Secretary Sean, thinks about this when it hits his desk, because it inevitably will.
No doubt. We got some connections here in the studio. Kurt, you do fantastic work. You can get his cyber guy report.
Next clip is on how Americans are viewing tariffs.
All his tariffs is him charging them, they charge us, and we pay the debt on this economy. We can't afford that. He should be more inventive of what he comes up with.
Take a look at this.
We want to have as many bees as we can to make honey.
At Secret Garden Bees, a honey farm in Linden, North Carolina, farmer Jim Hartman has one eye on his bees and the other on his bank account.
Ideally, we'll get 100 pounds of honey per hive per year.
How do you feel about paying more for things?
Well, if you find someone who says, I'm happy about paying more for something, you point them out to me. People who already couldn't afford fresh vegetables, who couldn't already afford to put good food on their plate, are the ones that are really going to be hurt by this.
Did you ever think when you voted for President Trump that things were going to cost you more and you're going to lose money?
I never thought I was going to lose this much money, this fast.
Jim is a Republican who voted for Donald Trump 3 times.
How do you feel about your vote for Donald Trump now?
Well, I feel like perhaps I should have considered some other options.
Among other things, Jim imports packaging supplies for his honey, so he's paying real close attention to the tariffs Trump just put in place.
We just bought our year's supply of bottles from Taiwan and our year's supply of corks from Portugal about 3 weeks ago. So that would have been, another $5,000 or $6,000 out of my pocket.
Which is partly why he's repairing instead of replacing this 40-year-old forklift.
The cost of equipment has just gone through the roof to buy anything like that because it just would be cost prohibitive.
He's also holding off on improvements around the farm.
We're not going to hire any more people, that's for sure.
It's more than just the tariffs. For the past 2 years, Jim has been selling honey to the federal government, which then provides it to schools and food banks. But after Donald Trump took office, the USDA cut those programs suddenly as part of the federal government's effort to streamline spending.
For a lot of other local farmers around here, it was a major source of reliable revenue. For me, it's going to cost me around $150,000 a year.
$150,000.
Yeah, roughly 50% of my revenue.
That's a huge hit.
That's a massive hit.
Not far from Jim's farm, we found other Trump supporters who give the president high marks on tariffs.
How do you feel about the tariffs?
Well, I feel like for years we've been getting ripped off, and I'm going to make it fair. 0-0. And I think Trump was upfront about it. He said we're going to hurt some now.
I think some of the countries, they're already starting to come around. It's going to be good. I really believe that.
You have faith in Trump?
Yes, I do.
I think he's doing the right thing. In order for us to get back where we need to be, he needs to get the money somewhere, and they're charging us. Why not charge them?
Could the tariffs have been used in Trump's first term to make people think tariffs are a good thing, only to be used in his second term to crash the economy?
A crash is a disaster. The government is commonly known to use disasters to bring about change that people really don't want.
Back at Jim's farm, though, still plenty of worry. He says raw honey is considered a luxury good, similar to organic vegetables. As prices rise,
I don't know what that's going to do to consumer spending.
Trump paused the majority of the tariffs for 90 days after we left Jim's farm. Jim told us by phone, It's flip-flopped so many times you can't take it to the bank. Who knows what it will be next week? Adding, it seems like he's heard the American people. Randy Kay, CNN, Linden, North Carolina.
Hopefully Trump finds another way to deal with the economy besides tariffs.
The states and the people cannot bear the weight financially for all this. Lord willing, he finds another way.
Until next time, 2 Lamps Last Hour News.